today we're going to talk about suffering because we need to understand suffering. We need to understand why we suffer, and we need to understand what we can do about suffering. Now, when I look up the definition of suffering, it tells me to submit to or be forced to endure. It also tells me to feel keenly, labor under, undergo, and experience, to put up with, especially if it's unavoidable, to allow, especially by reason of indifference, to endure death, pain, or distress, to sustain loss or damage, or to be subject to disability or handicap. So those are just some of the different definitions that it gives me of suffering. Suffer often suggests acceptance or passively rather than encourage or patient in bearing. When we talk about suffering, we need to examine exactly what is suffering. So if you are telling me that you are suffering, or that your business is suffering, or that you're suffering emotionally, psychologically, physically, or mentally, that is something that we have to dig into and we have to examine. So if you tell me that you are suffering, then we need to find the root cause of your suffering. A lot of times people just allow suffering and go along with suffering without actually finding the root cause of the suffering. And so if we want to stop your suffering, if we want to stop the pain, if we want to stop everything flowing out of you, then we have to find the source of your suffering. I want you to understand that suffering most of the time is self-inflicted. I'm going to tell you that again. Suffering most of the time is self-inflicted. If you call me and you tell me that you're suffering because people are talking behind your back, then my reaction to what you're telling me would be, my response rather would be, stop listening to what they are saying. If you are doing something and it is causing me to suffer, if it is causing me to feel bad about who I am, if it's causing me to have any kind of negative emotion whatsoever, it's up to me to stop you from doing whatever it is that you're doing, because your actions is causing me to suffer, because your actions are hurtful to me, or your actions are deteriorating to me, or your actions is ruining my reputation, it's tearing me down. So again, I'm telling you that suffering is self-inflicted, because look, I cannot control what other people do, but I can control my perception of what other people do. And I can also control how I let what other people do affect me and my life. It's all in my perception and how I see things. So if I perceive what you do to be something that's coming from a pain of anger or jealousy or hurt or whatever it's coming from, that's your emotion, and your emotion and your feelings are real to you. I teach and I tell people all the time, feelings are not right, they're not wrong. They're just what you feel at the time. But what I can assure you, the way you feel today, you're not going to feel that exact same way tomorrow. So you've got to learn that your feelings is based on everything that's swirling around you. Your feelings is based on the information that you feel, that you know, that you're dealing with at the time, and your information could be incorrect. And so a lot of times we do a lot of pain and suffering because we misinterpret the information that has been presented to us. Or we act out of a place of hurt and feelings and emotions, and we make it worse than what it is by believing that this is that and that is this, and they're not one and the same thing. And so we've got to be mindful that we've got to be accountable for our own emotional, for our own psychological, mental, and emotional well-being. You are responsible for that, because you are the person that is over the control or in control of the things that you allow into your mind. I tell you over and over again that your mind is a battlefield. That's where the battle is going to take place. It's going to take place in your mind. Evil thoughts are planted there. Thoughts from other people are planted there. People will have you acting and believing that something is one way when it's not that way at all. And so we have to always seek guidance when we're making these decisions. But again, I go back to that suffering is self-inflicted. Because if I'm telling you that I'm suffering from, and I'm talking about most suffering. It's some suffering that could come from an accident. There's some suffering that could come from a lot of different things. But if I'm suffering with obesity, if I'm suffering with heartache, if I'm suffering with pain, those are things based on the decisions that I have made about my life. And so we have to learn how to have accountability for the decisions and the choices that we have made in life. So we're just going to use the fact that I want to lose 25 pounds. Okay, so now you know and I know that I want to lose 25 pounds. So you can hold me accountable, shoot me emails, shoot me texts and say, hey, Sheila, hey, Miss Anusa, have you lost the 25 pounds yet? If I get enough of those, it's going to make me mindful and conscious enough to where I'm going to hold my own self accountable and I will find a way to lose those 25 pounds. But we make each other better. And that's what I want you to understand. You add value to me and I add value to you. So I can say that whether it's my thyroid or whether it's something else, or maybe my metabolism is just now down to a snail pace. But let's think about it. Some things are genetic, some things are hereditary, and some things are caused by the actions and the decisions that we make. And so if I already know that I'm at a disadvantage, because if I look around in my family and there's a problem with diabetes, then that tells me that I need to watch what I eat, because there's a good possibility that at some point in time in my life I can become a diabetic. If I look around in my family and there is high blood pressure and high cholesterol, and I know that somebody in my family has had a stroke, I know that I need to maintain a normal blood pressure. I know that I need to maintain my cholesterol. So I'm looking at all of this because I'm already predisposed to these things, because it seems to be running in my family line. But I speak against all illness. I declare and decree that illness shall not find me in this season, that I shall overcome, and that I'm already healed by the stripes of Jesus Christ. Now, with that being said, so I've looked at the fact that diabetes runs in my family. I've looked at the fact that I'm 25 pounds heavier than what I need to be. So it's about the choices that I make with the information that has been given to me. So I know that diabetes runs on both sides of my family. I know that there has been people in my family that has had a stroke. I know there's people in my family that deals with high blood pressure. So I know that I need to exercise and keep my blood pressure under control by diet and exercise. But then let's go a step further. I have a brother that had a heart attack. My mother had a massive heart attack and died. So there's two close blood relatives that have had heart issues in their life. Then I have another sister that is in AFib and has heart issues. So I already know that it was 7 of us, 9 if you count my mother and my father. So I already know that when I look at my family tree, when I look at my family genetics, when I look at the family medical history, I see that there's a possibility at some point in time that if I do not take care of myself, now I can still get it even if I take care of myself, but I'm going to lessen the odds of me actually having to deal with any of that. So with that being said, if I do not follow any of the guidelines, I just gave you a whole run out of my family history, of the genetics, of the things that has plagued my family from generation to generation. I just gave you a whole plan for that. And so after I gave you the plan for that, then I also, as I was talking about it, I gave you the solution. What can I do to lessen the odds of me actually having to deal with diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, stroke, or heart disease? What is it that I can actively do? Again, this is why I'm telling you that suffering is self-inflicted. So I already know, because I'm a nurse. So I already know how I'm supposed to eat. I already know I'm supposed to get the proper amount of rest, the proper amount of energy. I mean, all of it. I already know that. I know that I need water. I know that I need exercise. But if I make the choice to do nothing to better my health situation, then I have made a choice to accept diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, high cholesterol, and the possible stroke. Now, but did I consciously come out and say with my mouth, you know what? I don't care if I get any of that. I'm just going to do what I want to do. No, I did not come out and say that with my mouth, but because I have did nothing. Because I tell you all the time, a lot of times what you don't say speaks volumes. So if I don't start exercising and if I don't lose to 25 pounds, I am causing my own suffering, because by me not doing what I know to do and what I need to do, the result is going to bring about suffering. If I become a diabetic and I have to take a pill, which I do not like. I do not like taking pills. I forget to take my vitamins half of the time because I'm always on the go. But if I fail to do the things that I need to do to keep me from getting diabetes, guess what? When and if I get diabetes, which I rebuke in the name of Jesus, I will not get diabetes. But if I did get diabetes, then that's self-inflicted. That's self-inflicted suffering that I have brought on myself by the choice that I did not make. I didn't make the choice to lose the weight and to do things differently. I made the choice to do nothing and keep letting life happen. I often tell you, if you don't make decisions and if you don't take care of the things in your life that you need to take care of, guess what? It will take care of you. So now, not only have I set myself up because based on my family history, there's a good possibility at some point in time in my life that I could possibly end up a diabetic, because out of 7 children, 1, 2, 3, 4, out of 7 children, 3 of them ended up being diabetics. My mother and my father were diabetic. So I know my family history enough to make a wise decision about my personal development, my personal health, my personal well-being. So let me take that over to the business side. If I'm having to take shots, if I'm having to take pills and my blood sugar is up and down, it's going to affect the way I feel. It's going to affect the way that I do business, because I'm going to have to be worried about maintaining that blood sugar, a normal blood sugar. So therefore, I have caused my own pain and suffering by not making a decision, by not making a choice to get my blood sugar under control. Same thing with high blood pressure. If I don't want to exercise, then I'm not interested in taking care of my heart or dealing with the possibility that I could end up with high blood pressure. Now, I'm telling you that in my family, on both sides of the family, there has been high blood pressure, there has been high cholesterol, and there has been heart issues. So again, with all the information that I have gathered, I have enough information about my family history, about my family background, that I should be able to make a wise, conscious decision on my health. What is it that I need to do? What is it that I don't need to do? And if I make the wrong decision, guess what? When I get the diabetes, which I'm not going to, when I have the heart issues, which I'm not going to have, when I have high cholesterol, which I rebuke, when I have high blood pressure, when I have any manner of health issue that I could have when I'm overweight and know that I need to lose weight. But now my body metabolism has slowed down. It's not going as fast as it needs to, but I do nothing about it, but I continue to gain weight. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not putting anyone down. I'm talking about the health issues that may or may not plague your family, how it is important for you to know what they are and not not only important for you to know what they are, but important for you to make the decision that you want to change your life. You want to change your environment. You want to change what has been passed down from generation to generation. Yes, some of it's genetics. Some of it is in your blood, but you can also do something about that and make the percentage chance of you actually having to deal with any of that a lot smaller by taking the necessary precautions that you need to take to achieve what you need to achieve. That's what I'm talking about here today, about achieving the things that we need to achieve by doing the things that is necessary. So if I fail to do any of the things that I have been talking about, if I fail to get the proper amount of rest, if I fail to drink water and stay hydrated for my joints, if I fail to eat wrong, if I fail to exercise and not have good heart health, if I fail at any of the things that I have been talking about, then I have caused my own pain and suffering, because God knows I don't want to take pills. I don't want to take a shot. I don't want my life to slow down. I don't want to stop what I'm doing. I find this is my passion. I love what I do. And so when you find what you love, then you need to take care of you, because you got to understand, as I talk about this, if I'm sick and weak in my body and whatever is going on, or if I can't see because my blood pressure's up, or my blood pressure's too low, or my blood sugar's up, or my blood sugar's too low, or whatever the issue may be, if I do not deal with those things, then they will deal with me. So guess what? I have caused my own suffering. Okay? So even in your business, let's switch over and talk about your professional life now. So even in your professional life, again, if you don't take care of your business will take care of you. And you most likely will not like the results of your business taking care of you. So here's what I want you to understand. If you fail to take the necessary precautions to protect your business, to grow your business, to strengthen your business, then when your business crumbles and falls, you're suffering from a failed business because you failed to take the necessary precautions that it was required for you to have a successful business. I'm just giving you examples that you can deal with and that you can understand. Let's go a step further to prove my point. If you are talking about me and I know that what you're saying is not true, I have to come to the understanding that your belief, your opinion is not my reality. So instead of choosing to listen to all the hateful, mean, vile things that you are saying about me, I choose to let you do your way, to love you, and to operate in peace. So once I make that decision, the things that you are doing ceases to make me suffer because I've let it go and it really does not matter anymore. I can't suffer from something that I don't care about. So a lot of times I have to step outside of myself and just look at it from a different standpoint. I have to pray about that thing. I have to let it go and I have to release it. And what happens after I pray about it, I let it go and I release it, that is between whoever is involved in the equation and God. I've done my part. I've repented. I've let it go and I've released it to God. And now it's laying at God's feet for him to do something with it. You know, you have got to learn to stop holding on to things that really don't matter. You are causing your own suffering by going around, getting on the phone, calling to try to find out what people are saying about you and what people think about you. Now, do you not realize that when you call around and you figure out and you want to hear all of this information, do you not realize that it is going to hurt you. It is going to cause a form of suffering because we are human. We want to be loved. We want to be liked. We want people to believe in us. We want people to celebrate us. We want every last bit of that. But if you're calling around trying to find out what people is saying about you, and all that you ever hear is negative things that people is saying about you, you are causing your own suffering by being nosy. That's the reason why I say all the time, and I've heard others say it as well, what other people think about you is really none of your business. Let me tell you that again. What other people think about you is really none of your business. Their opinion of you does not define you, and it does not dictate who you are. Other people does not know your journey. Other people don't really even understand your strengths and your weaknesses. Other people don't see your dreams and your visions and your goals. They tell you to stay in safe zone. Don't do anything that's going to amount to anything. You need to just play it safe. You're safe here, so don't worry about doing anything else. And so you've got to come to understand that the world is designed, people is designed to keep us hostage to where you become a slave to what he said and they said, and none of it is beneficial to your personal development or your professional development. Again, let me explain this to you. When you are running around listening and wanting to hear what other people have said about you, you are setting yourself up for failure and you're setting yourself up for suffering. This is the reason why I'm telling you that most suffering is self-inflicted. Yes, there is going to be some suffering in your life that you didn't cause. But if we did a survey, 80% of the suffering that we go through is self-inflicted. That's what I want you to understand. If what you are doing is hurting me, I'm not a prisoner. I'm not a slave. I'm not tied up. Look, I don't have to listen to the negativity that is coming out of your mouth. I don't have to listen. I don't have to call you. I don't have to listen to what other people is saying that you're saying, because all of this is hurting me in the long run. And so if I don't want to be hurt by your words, because again, your opinion is not my reality. If I don't want to be hurt by that, then I'm not going to entertain that. If I do not want to feel like, oh, well, this person don't like me or that person don't like me, I'm not going to put myself in a position to whether I'm going to have to think about whether I'm liked or whether I'm loved, because, you know, I think I heard T.D. Jakes say it once. I don't have time to try to teach anyone how to love me. I am too old. It is too late in the game for me to be trying to teach you to like me, to be trying to teach you to love me, to be trying to teach you to care about me, to be trying to teach you anything concerning me as a person. Whether you like me or not, I was created in the image of God, and I make no apology for being who I am. If you have a problem with who I am, then you have the same option that I have. You know what? If you talking to me offends you, then I would suggest that you don't do it. If you coming around me offends you and hurts you in any type of way, then I would suggest that you don't do it. So suffering is self-inflicted because we have this insanity going on where we do the same thing over and over and over, but we are expecting a different result. If you haven't learned to love me in 45 years, guess what? You're most likely not going to learn how to love me. I might just be one of those people that you just don't like. It doesn't even have to be anything wrong with you. It doesn't have to be anything wrong with the other person. For whatever reason, y'all just do not match. Y'all just do not click. It is what it is. So I'm telling you that suffering, a good portion of it is self-inflicted. It has to do with our perception. It has to do with our actions. It has to do, we intentionally do things that we know is going to hurt us in the long run. So if I know how you feel, why am I subjecting myself to you over and over and over again? If I know that you are a user, Why do I continue to let you use me? If I know that you think that I'm your doormat for you to wipe your feet on, and that's the only purpose that I serve in your life, to be a doormat, when I no longer want to be a doormat, guess what? I will cease to be a doormat, and you will not have the ability to wipe your feet on me anymore. We tend to get in situations to where we act like that we don't know how to get out. It's simple. Just do it. You got yourself into it, you can get yourself out of it. You know, a lot of times my mother used to say, don't bite off more than you can chew. And, you know, I always would look and I would think about that and I would marvel at that. And then sometimes things would happen in my life that it didn't go the way that I wanted it to. And so the words would come in my head, don't bite off more than you can chew. But also the words of one of the greatest men in my life that has ever been in my life, that he came in my life at the end of his life, and it happened to be the beginning of mine at the age of 27, 28. And he taught me that you may have problems, you may have obstacles, but you also have the solution to the problem and the obstacle. You know how to get over the obstacle and you have the solution. So not only are you the solution to your problems, but you are the solution that the world needs to their problems as well. So I am the solution, and I can help you get from where you are to where you need to be. But I need you to understand that it's a process and that you are causing some of your own suffering by your perception of things. You are causing some of your own suffering because you refuse to change. You refuse to change your ideals, your way of thinking. You're not evolving. You're not growing. You think that you have already arrived. You think that you know everything. I thank God each and every day for my ability to learn. I'm being taught by the Holy Spirit each and every day. But not only that, I'm tapping into the greatness that's on the inside of me. And guess what else? I learn for each one of you each and every day. How do I learn from y'all? By your text, by your email. You make me greater. I want you to understand that. You add value to me just like I add value to you. Because with your problems and your issues and us coming to the proper solution and what we need to do about it, it causes me to have to dig deeper. It causes me to have to make sure that I'm helping you come up with the solution to your problem, because I am your problem solver. So I help you to solve the problem that you cannot see past the forest for the tree. And so with that being said, you have to understand that with suffering, a lot of times it's about the choices that we have made. Look, all you have to do is understand that life is a journey. You're going to make mistakes. No one's perfect, and be willing to live. Okay, let me say that again. For some reason, that became a tongue twister for me. No one, absolutely no one is perfect. We all make mistakes. We all have fallen short of the glory of God, and we all have room to grow. We all should be learning and growing each and every day. I told you in some of the other videos, you need to make sure that you're learning something about your field every day, but you also need to make sure that you're learning at least one thing that you did not know. And so you need to strive to be a lifetime learner. You're not going to say that I learned all that I need to learn. Now I've arrived. You will never, ever arrive. You need to know that your greatness will go on and on and on, and you will get greater and greater and greater, but you will learn. You will move forward, and you will be able to walk in the greatness that's on the inside of you. So when I tell you that most suffering is self-inflicted, I want you to actually think about what I'm saying. Think about the last time that you was in agony, and it wasn't a major accident or anything major from an outside force that happened to you, because you can't control accidents. You can't control random acts of violence because you can be almost anywhere now and something could happen to you. But could you have avoided it if you had a taser, if you had a gun? You know, what was the alternative? No, for every decision that you make, there is a consequence. But here's something else I want you to know. For every decision that you don't make, there is still a consequence. So say none of those things is in this scenario and you don't make a decision or you keep doing the same things. Here's what I don't understand about us, because I do it myself as well. And then I have to stop myself from doing it. But we will do the same thing over and over and over and expect a different result, knowing that that's the definition of insanity. But we do these things knowing good and well that our feelings is going to be hurt, knowing that it's going to make us feel some type of way. So I want you to come to the realization that suffering, a lot of it is self-inflicted. Now, when are you going to stop inflicting self-inflicted struggling upon yourself? When are you going to stop inflicting self-inflicted suffering upon yourself? It's time for you to do things differently in this season. It's time for you to understand that it's about choices, decisions, and perception. You know what? If any given situation is making you feel a certain way, you have the ability to get out of that situation and walk in your greatness and walk in the newness of life. I want you to understand that even though most of your struggles and your suffering is self-inflicted, you also have the solution and the key to stop your struggling and to stop your suffering. The key is within you. Change how you're doing things. Change how you let other people's actions affect you. Most of the time, we're affected by someone else's actions, or someone trying to do better than us, or somebody trying to knock us down, or somebody not believing in us. Somebody's talking about us. It's always somebody. Stop focusing on somebody else and start focusing on yourself, your own self-development, your own self-improvement, your own professional improvement. That's what you need to focus on, because remember, where you put your focus and your attention, that's where your energy is going to go. So I want you to learn how to look at your stumbling block, your struggles and your suffering, acknowledge them for what they are. If it's something that you can do to stop the suffering, then you need to stop the suffering and you need to move on. You need to do this quickly. You don't need to wallow in self-pity for any long amount of time. You need to do this quickly, and then you need to keep it moving, knowing that you can achieve anything that you believe. If you're willing to believe it, have a dream, believe in it, trust and follow God's directions for your life, and believe it and call it done and put action behind your belief system, guess what? It's manifestation time. This has been One Life Agency. Join us on the World Wide Web at onelifeagency.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Be one life. Be the one life that you've always wanted. Walk in your greatness. Walk in your purpose. You know what? You can live your best life now. Come and be a part of the One Life Inner Circle, or come and be a part of the One Life Eternals. We are a tribe that thrives. We are educating. We're empowering each other. We are our brother's keeper. We are truly a tribe that thrives. We are a tribe that you want to be a part of. And guess what? We're a tribe of outcasts that the world said wouldn't make it. We're a tribe of outcasts that they counted out. They said we wasn't even worth listening to, that we would not make it. But guess what? We're business owners. We're CEOs. We're whatever it is that we choose to be. We're doctors. We're nurses. We're pharmacists. We're medical techs. We're midwife. You name it. We have the ability to be all of that, because that's what's in this community of what the world called outcasts. We call them overcomers. So take care of you, and I'll talk to you real soon.